Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel Apex Chess Academy. I am FIDE instructor Hemal Thanki. Today's our topic is isolated double pawn execution part. Yes, we have seen the previous part, which is the basic one. So the player who has not seen my previous video, I would recommend to see my previous video, the basic ideas and the to-do list against double pawns, isolated double pawns. Okay, so today we'll see the execution part in this game. This is the game between Alexander Lekhain versus Max Yu. Again, for the blind players, we'll speak the initial position: King G1, Queen D1, Rook A1, Rook F1, Bishop C4, Knight D2, Knight G5, A2, B2, C3, E3, F2, G2, H3. Black's position: King G8, Queen D8, Rook A8, Rook E8, Bishop E6, Bishop G7, Knight F6, A7, B7, C5, E5, F7, G6, H7. This is white to play. It is only 12 moves played in this game. And now this position in fact is a technical plus for white. And this is white to play. If you want to think for a while, you can pause the video and try to find out the solution by yourself. Let's discuss the solution. Here, first of all, according to our to-do list, what we should do? We should exchange queens and enter into endgame. So first part, we'll see this thing. So we'll divide these things into small parts. So let's try to achieve this thing. So first of all, we'll have to achieve a good knight against the bad piece and exchange queens. So here we should take with a bishop. If we take with a knight, it is difficult to exchange our light square bishop against the knight. So it is ideal to trade the bishop with bishop and exchange knight with knight and try to achieve a good knight on e4 versus a bad bishop on g7. So yes, first move is bishop cross e6. Now of course rook takes is out of question, so pawn takes is forced, and now knight d e4. We are encouraging black to trade the queens. So in game, actually knight takes e4 was played. But okay, let's see if black avoids queen trade after queen c7, white will play queen d6 and still white will go for queen trades. After takes rook e7 and just we can play rook d1. And you see black cannot avoid the queen trades, and even after the knight back to e4 will achieve the same position what we have achieved in game. So let's go back to 14th move, knight takes e4. So after knight takes e4, okay, we can take it back with knight takes e4, but remember, whenever we have better pawn structure, especially the isolated double pawns, we should eliminate the queens to avoid counterplay. So we should take queen to d8 first, rook takes, and now knight takes e4. Okay, and in game b6 was played. But okay, if I'm playing this position as black, I would definitely play c4 here because then only I'm able to activate my g7 bishop. So it does not matter I'm losing or winning, but I have to play c4. Okay, in game b6 was played. And here again, okay, we have achieved the first part. Now what we should do, we should fix the weaknesses and eliminate one more rook from the board so that we can achieve good knight versus bad bishop, and one pair of rook will help white to exploit more weaknesses. So here white should try to exchange one pair of rooks. So which is ideal? Should trade a rook or fix the weakness. So here I would again advise to fix the c5 weakness so that it is not possible for black in future to play bishop f8 and activate the bishop. So I would recommend to play c4. Okay, but in game the same thing was happened after rook f d1, but I would advise you to play c4, which is more precise. So after rook f d1, now king f8 was played. So still c4 was possible as black, but then okay, still white is better. Okay, c4 pawn is going to win white sooner or later, but at least black will activate his bishop. But okay, after king f8, still c4 is advisable. Okay, king f1 was played in game, king e7 and c4. So sooner or later we'll transpose this position if you have played c4 before. Okay, now after this position we are able to activate our king with king e2. Okay, one pair of rooks has been exchanged, and now black has just played a waiting move, rook b8. And now we have executed our second part as well. First we have eliminated queens. In second part we have eliminated one pair of rook, fixed weaknesses. We achieved our knight on a beautiful blockading square. Now what to do? How to make more weaknesses in the opponent's camp? So here always remember that the rook's pawn is the best pawn to create further weaknesses. Because if you push your rook pawn, you won't create more pawn island in your camp, while you may create more pawn islands in your opponent's camp. So after rook b8, we should push our a pawn. But okay, in order to do that, we can first start with rook d3. Now black has no active counterplay, so black will simply wait with bishop h8 and then a4, rook c8, and now rook b3. So that okay, if we play direct rook to put your if you put your rook on d3 and if you play a5, while black's rook is on b8, black has some counterplay on b5. So it is ideal to put your rook on b3 and then you play a5, so that your opponent cannot play b into a5. Now king d7, a5, king c6, and now ab, and rook a3. And now this is what the point is. So here your rook is going to achieve open a file as well, so that that rook can penetrate through 7th rank and touch all those weaknesses on g6, h6, or maybe the weak bishop as well. Okay, and here king b7 is not possible because of knight d6. So black has to play some waiting move again, rook a7, rook c7, and here again it's out of question to trade the rooks because our rook is far better than black's rook. So white will play rook to a8, rook to e7, and now before going to g8, black simply gives one check, rook c8 check, king to d7, and then rook g8. So by this means white will simply win a tempo because somehow black's king has to activate this rook, so again has to go back to c6. Now what? So white has achieved his king on e2, a beautiful knight on e4, fixes black's weaknesses as well, improve his rook on g8 so that it can target further weaknesses as well. Now what next? So remember one thing, whenever black will achieve any kind of counterplay through a file, and by some means if black is going to win some of the white's pawn, and if it is pawn race, white's pawn race and black's pawn race, in that case it is ideal for white to put his pawns before black's pawn push. So here rather than going for any kind of pawn grab, first white is trying to push his kingside pawns. So once the pawn race start, our pawn should be on g5, already advanced pawns. So here white starts with h4. So now of course b5 is again out of question because b5 means just takes and knight d6 check. And once king b4 comes, then knight e8 and which simply wins a bishop. So b5 is not possible. And after the king to c7, white will play g4, king c6, and g5. So by this means white is improving his pawns, fixing the g6 weakness. And after pawn takes, white is ready with pawn race. If black is going to win b2 pawn, and in that case, his, of course, his g7 bishop is still hanging, so it's very difficult to achieve that kind of trick as well. But okay, by means, if black achieve this by any kind of magic, still white is ready with his g5 pawn. So once white wins the g6 pawn, it's very easy for white to promote that pawn to winning square. Now rook f7. So now what to do? White now wants to achieve a piece superiority. How to achieve piece superiority? White want to put his king on e4 and activate his knight. But if white immediately goes for knight to c3 and king to e4, then black will play e4 check after knight c3. And if you play, say, your knight somewhere else, still white black may think about e4. So what white will do, white will first put his b2 pawn on b3 so that e4 trick will never work. So b3. So just coming out of that bishop's range, now rook to a7 and now knight to c3. So by this means white is trying to achieve his king on e4. Again, so e4 is simply made by knight into e4, but anyhow black has to play this move because otherwise his bishop will never see the light. Okay, in game rook f7 was played. So now knight to b5. Again black is continued to play passively. So again I would suggest you to play e4 if you are playing this position as black. Doesn't matter you are losing or winning, but at least you should activate your bishop. Okay, rook to e7. Now king to d3, rook d7 check, and king e4. And by this way, white has achieved the piece superiority as well. So now white's king on e4 is very strong blockading, which simply cuts off the bishop from the play. And now we have rook and knight to attack black's king. Now rook to e7, now rook c8 check, king d7, rook c7 check, king e8, and now rook to c6. And now you see there is no defender of this b6 pawn. So white will simply win rook into b6 in next move and then put his knight on a4 to win the another c5 pawn and the game in a few moves. And that's why black resigned. So this was our second part, the execution part when you are playing against the isolated double pawn. Hope you have enjoyed this video. If you like my video, please subscribe to my channel and don't forget to click on notification to see my further videos based on chess information. Thank you. Thank you very much.